Welcome back to a quick and effective environment illustration. Here in lesson 4, we're going to start really refining these layer shapes. Now with the water blocked in, we've pretty much got all our elements blocked in on a layer, and the shapes are starting to get refined. We've got a foreground, middle ground, background, clouds, and sky. And I can just hop to any layer to edit that, to start working on it. If I need to clean up the background a little, I can refine the edge. And as I refine that edge, I'll start to see how unrefined other edges are. And you'll start jumping back and forth and slowly refining, bringing things up from 20% to 30% to 40%, and slowly working ourselves up to that finish rather than trying to finish anything right off the bat. Because the more you stay on target and stay on the right step of your procedure, the easier it is to do these works, and the quicker you're able to as well. Once you start modeling and rendering out, there's nothing else left to do but continue modeling and rendering out. And it's a lot of work, especially this early in an image, where I want to get everything blocked in, nailed down on a clean layer that I can then lock and render within that. And you'll see as we get to the later lessons how crucial it is to have these layers carved out, have these shapes just right this early. Get it all right before you start coloring, and then you can color with much more freedom and much more confidence, because you're not disturbing the composition as you paint in texture and color. You're just adding to the composition that's already nailed down, because the shapes are laid down correctly and they have values that read just right. So we're just moving around, cleaning it up, refining the edge, because we need these layer shapes. We need these layer shapes to be accurate. And if I flip it upside down, if I rotate it around, I can still see, the composition is there. The values, the dark foreground to the light background, the placement of shapes, the placement of these masses. It's working, it's holding together. So now I can confidently start refining these layer shapes out. Start using different brushes on different elements to get things to read, to get clouds to read as the clouds, to get the mountain to read as the mountain. And if I zoom in and start carving out this back mountain, we'll see. I should be able to get a pretty good shape quickly. Because right now it already reads as mountains, but it's a cartoon graphic, symbol of mountains. It doesn't have the natural outline or the natural silhouette that a real mountain range would have. So glance over at reference, glance at the paintings, at photos of mountains, and try to capture that as you carve out this line. And you can carve out this line any number of ways. Perhaps you'd want to just draw it out, color within your line, and figure your outline that way. This approach, painting in, erasing out, painting a little overlap and erasing out the excess, it gives a more random edge. And switching the brushes up can give you a more variety in how you're getting this edge line. And really right now I'm trying to capture the rhythm of this large mountain mass and a mountain mass far in the background. The way you would treat the outlines, the top edge, the mountain ridge, way in the background is going to be different than how you're going to treat the same type of mountain ridge if it's in the middle ground, or especially if it's in the foreground. Where in objects way in the background, we've got a lot less detail, and everything's much more implied. And we need to rely more on the rhythm of the large mass rather than all the detail of the edge. Now, see in this area, now that mountain edge is a little more refined, it's time to refine the cloud edge as well. And a cloud edge has a lot more variety and a lot more randomness and wildness. That cloud edge, if you look at it right now, you look back at it in nature, you look back at it in an hour, that cloud is a completely different shape. Where that mountain range, that the outline of that mountain range is going to stay the same for quite a few years. So now I'm just adjusting the shape, the size, thinking about where the overlap is, where this mountain range falls behind the closer mountain range, where the clouds fall behind the far distant mountain range. But everything we're trying to get across this early is still just through value, just through a large mass, through a large shape. And I've really got to restrain myself so I don't get carried away with detail, because I have to go in now and start refining. We've basically got these blobs of color that are representing now the middle ground mountains and the closer details. Everything needs to be refined a little bit now, because that background, that small area in the upper left, that cloud area is it's now in the next step. I'm refining these layer shapes. And we've got to bring that out and refine the middle ground layer shape now. So using a more textured brush gives a slightly more textured edge, where you use a combination of the textured brush and a hard edge brush for accents as you're drawing these outlines. But just like drawing the top of the mountain range, where this land meets water, there are distinctive rhythms to that shape. And that's the kind of thing I'm trying to capture here. And in your own work, it's the kind of character you want to capture as well. And following this technique, you nail down the character of that shape. And when it comes time to color and texture later on, and it's a breeze. So I got to keep refining this. This is a really crucial part of the work, is getting these layer shapes just right. Because once this small mountain piece here is just right, it's, you lock it and you paint in there, and you add further subdivisions of planes and details and texture, and it really comes to life really quick. but it is absolutely crucial that the shape is correct, that it reads like the element you're trying to represent. And you see, I use a lasso tool, use a texture brush, use a harder brush, all these different things to get these edges right. Now I'm going to keep using the texture brush, hard edge brush, lasso, and keep out refining the background and keep out refining this middle ground. And we're going to wrap up this lesson cleaning up these layer shapes. And I'll see you in lesson 5 as we start working on the light side of these layer shapes.